Ladies and gentlemen, it's finally time to start talking about it. With the 6v6 test right around the corner, there's been a lot of narratives that have come up from the community that I think are worth bringing up. Things such as, oh, the devs are sabotaging the 6v6 test by having it come out right after Marvel Rivals release, like days after Marvel Rivals release. We're going to talk about all these things today, as well as kind of the order of operations for how they're going about it, what I expect from the 6v6 tests, and just kind of like summarizing what it took to get here. So let's talk about this at first. Let's go over the notion briefly that Blizzard is intentionally trying to sabotage their 6v6 test by either putting it right after Marvel Rivals release or having the more experimental version of 6v6 come out first before they do the classic 2-2-2. Let's go piece by piece here. One, do I think that Blizzard is intentionally sabotaging the 6v6 test? No. They gain nothing from doing that. Absolutely nothing. Like, if they're going to commit developer time to it, it's going to be something that they take somewhat seriously. And like, I know there's a lot of question marks around some of the business practices of Overwatch 2 with, you know, the PvE not getting announced or getting delayed or later, whatever you can say. But like Aaron, he's just not that kind of guy to sit there, and it's just not, it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense. I think that's silly. Now, you could argue that, hey, they should do it better, but to say that they're sabotaging it, like self-sabotaging it, I think is just stupid. They don't gain anything from doing that. In fact, it would look bad if they did, and it'd be pretty obvious to tell if they were. Now, we can go on and talk a little bit about the release being right next to Marvel Rivals. Obviously, they know that they're going to have to compete with Marvel Rivals at this point. Let's not beat around the bush. That being said, I think this test should have come before Marvel Rivals, because you already know that you're not going to get an accurate amount of players online who are interested in playing 6v6 again, because Marvel Rivals, the brand new 6v6 open queue hero shooter game that everybody's been really excited for, is going to have released that week. I can tell you right now, there is a very slim chance that I'm actually going to be playing the 6v6 on Overwatch when Marvel Rivals had come out days before. Like, as a content creator, it would be a mistake for me to do that, because you want to like get on the trends of like the newer games when they come out. And frankly, I'm more excited to play Marvel than I am Overwatch, and have been to play Overwatch for about a year now, since the second we really heard about Marvel Rivals and realized, hey, wait a minute, this game's actually good. And I know those of you who have not tried Marvel Rivals sit there and look at the visuals, be like, this game looks like shit. It doesn't look like Overwatch. How could anybody say that this game's going to be popular? One, it was in betas. Two, it's made with Unreal Engine 5. Three, you have to actually play the game to understand how the gameplay loop feels like an Overwatch 1. Like it felt like Overwatch 1. There was a dynamic gameplay loop. Tons of different heroes you can choose that have backstories that Overwatch characters cannot match. There's only one franchise in the world that could probably like make a game and have its storyline be more intriguing than Overwatch in its genre, and that's Marvel. It's just maybe DC, but like you guys get what I mean. But I gotta give NetEase credit. Like, they did a great job of adapting that, so it's absolutely worth trying, and that's when everybody's gonna be on trying Marvel Rivals. So I get the line of thinking that, hey, like, we should do something to try to compete with Marvel Rivals for their release, but I think they should either do it before then or like ways after, like weeks after, not days. I'll have to double check the exact schedule on that. I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am. That being said, like, I'm a huge 6v6er. I'm going to be playing Marvel. I'm going to tell you that right now. Like, I'm going to be playing Marvel Rivals. And there's a big part of that 6v6 community that is so fed up with Overwatch 2 and all the shenanigans that have kind of happened with super takes, you name it, whatever it might be, that they might just be done altogether and say, you know what, this is taking too much damn time. This is BS. I've already found a new game that's kind of replaced this game for me. I'm not going back. Blizzard dropped the ball too many times. I'm done. And honestly, like, I'm not sure what boat I'm in yet. I don't see myself ever leaving Overwatch completely unless there's just a way better game out there that, you know, that community likes, the channel likes, whatever it might be. The main reason, like, I still stick around Overwatch as much as I do is, to be honest with you, definitely post Super Tanks, like, a lot of that passion is gone. It's just lame. But it's really for you guys, man. Like, I enjoy interacting with my chat, and I love you guys, and that's really fun. But man, it's just the gameplay loop ain't there. And so I wonder how many players are just going to sit there and say, you know what, enough's enough. I'm done. I'm done. And let me know down in the comments and just be honest about it. Like, are you one of those people? Would you agree? Would you disagree? Let me know. I will say, I think trying to directly compete with Marvel Rivals with the first 6v6 test is a bad idea. Well, TBD. It's not, I'll say this. It's not sabotage. It's not fair to call. It's not fair to call an attempt to compete sabotage. I think that's dishonest. Okay. Let's move on to point 2. And Flats brought this up where he said that they made a mistake by trying the open queue new hybrid queue variant first, and then they're going to do the 2-2-2 second, okay? And after listening to his points, I agree. I think they need to show that they're capable of nerfing AoE abilities and heroes like Brigitte and Baptiste and Sigma and Old Orisa, or Fortify and Grasp, particularly those 2 abilities. I think they need to show that they're capable of doing that before they get really experimental and get in a format that would be even harder to balance than 2-2-2 Rollock, because there are some open queue flex features. I think they should probably try 2-2-2 first. Replace quick play for a day or two, have it be 2-2-2, figure out the balance, and then get wacky with the external variables. Trying out the new format on top of 6v6 Rollock is a lot of variables, and it's really hard to do when, frankly, they've not shown that they're capable of balancing a 6v6 format well. They got rid of GOATs by going to 2-2-2 Rollock. And by the way, you could say, oh, well, Sam Shanghai beat the Shock 4-3. It ended GOATs, man. It was still way too easy to play a comp like GOATs, mainly because they buffed every support ult in the game, and they refused to address AoE healers like BAP and Brig. Ironically, that exact same thing ended up creating double shield, and they couldn't fix that either. They've never been good at sitting down and actually fixing big balance issues or adding big alternative options like Ramaktra into the game to shake up or dismantle that meta. Like, if Ram had existed in Overwatch 1, he could have single-handedly broken double shield meta by himself, because he just cleaves through the shields and he cleaves through Sig Grasp, right? So there is a way or an argument where you could say, okay, well, if they run Bat Brig double shield, Ramaktra is a brawl tank that can actually contend with those characters. He can cleave through a lot of those abilities and do big damage. He could have ended that meta. We don't know, right? We do not know. We're not sure. So we'll see what happens with that. But I do agree with Flats. I think it is a bit of a mistake to have the hybrid Q1 first when maybe a lot of players are going to be getting back online to try it out. But it's just a shame that it's just a shame for Overwatch that Marvel Rivals is already going to be out before they try 6v6 again. I think that is a fumble. It is a fumble. They needed to have at least one of these tests before Marvel came out instead of after Marvel came out, because Marvel is, like, if you guys don't believe this yet, I'm going to tell you right now, Marvel Rivals is going to take a chunk of the Overwatch player base away. How many of those players? No one knows. It could last weeks. It could last days. It could last months. It could be forever. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. I do think it will be a decent amount. Like, I'm really excited to play. It's fun. It's going to be awesome having the Overwatch season shit. Let's go play Marvel Rivals, because it's a very similar audience. The games are similar. The gameplay loops are similar. If it's bad patch, you have an alternative, and that's great. We want that. We really, really want that. But to try to take the peak of the Marvel Rivals hype head on, like, that's first 6v6 test, whether we like it or not, is going to get overshadowed. It's going to get overshadowed. I'm going to be more interested in Marvel Rivals as a content creator and a player than I'm going to be in the 6v6 test at this point, because it's been too much fumbling leading up to this. Too much fumbling. We have a chance at a fresh start with a brand new game with an IP as big as Marvel. That's where people are going to be, whether we like it or not. So I get why people are saying it's sabotage. There's a difference between self-sabotage and potentially, not guaranteed, a bad decision. There's a very, very, very big difference. And I will say it'll be incredibly stupid if people come out and say, well, where's all the 6v6 players? They all ask for this back, and then they get on and no one wants to play, as if a new game release with that format is not going to take away from that, which it's absolutely going to. So I do see the argument there for that, where people are saying it's sabotage. I don't think it's sabotage, but also, if people come out and say, well, people didn't show up for the 6v6 test, but yeah, Marvel Rivals released that week. Of course people didn't show up for it. So I don't know what to really think about that yet. I'm going to have to take some time to process it, because I want to sit here and say, hey, all the 6v6ers, everybody show up for the 6v6 test. They're finally doing it, right? But I know where we're all going to be. We're all going to be playing Marvel Rivals. Like, that's what we've been waiting for. We were excited, and Marvel got to it first in a permanent new game it's not even up for discussion at that point. It's not Marvel Lite. It's Marvel Rivals. And Overwatch 2 is Overwatch Lite. It'd be a great version for the Switch and mobile. So I'm not really sure what to think, but I will say they do need to actually balance the game properly. I do think they should probably flip-flop those orders. And I think if it's not too late, they should really, really consider pushing that 6v6 test to the week before Marvel Rivals comes out, and then letting Marvel run for a bit, because you're not going to be able to steal their hype train for a while, because it's a brand new product. People are going to be playing it. Then as Marvel starts to slow down, that's when you do your next 6v6 playtest. That's what I would have done. I'm not claiming to have all the answers. That's not what I'm saying here. But I did want to have a video talking about expectations, talking about the sabotage narrative, and talking about how all this has been laid out. I think it could be better. It's not the end of the world. But what I really want to know from you guys is, are you even going to try it if Marvel Rivals is out that week? I can tell you, I might not. I might just be all in at Marvel at that point, because as a content creator, it's a big mistake to not try to capitalize on a new game. So it really is a shame that the 6v6 test is going to get overshadowed by Marvel Rivals, and that it took Blizzard too long to actually get there to do it. But I genuinely do believe, if I had to guess, that the 6v6 test will get overshadowed by Marvel Rivals, and it probably should have been scheduled either to early. Like, I would rather them delay it to next year. Genuinely. I think they should wait to January. I think they should. Excuse me. Getting sick. I genuinely think, actually, now that I think about it, it should get delayed to January. And you know what? God, I don't want to say it's sabotage. I don't want to say it's intentional sabotage, but like, you're kind of killing the test by releasing it the same week as Marvel. Like, you kind of are, actually, now that I think about it. I'm not saying they were like, let's put this here so that Marvel Rivals could kill it and we can move on. I'm not saying that, right? I don't think they would do that. But I do think it's a mistake to release it the week of Marvel Rivals. I do. I think that's a terrible decision. I think you should just have to deal with the player loss you're going to see when Marvel comes out, and then fight for it after. But I don't know. What do I know? I don't have all the answers here. That's just my opinion. What's your opinion? What do you guys think about the release schedule, the operations of the test? Are you just going to say, screw it, I'm going to Marvel Rivals? What do you all think? But thank you guys so much for watching. Those are my thoughts on the upcoming 6v6 test in the Hero Shooter War that we're about to participate in. It's going to be great, because finally the players are going to get put first when there's actual competition in the space. Love you guys. Take care, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.